In the beginning, there was only the high heavens and the burning hells. The eternal conflict between the forces of light and darkness raged across the cosmos, as the angels and demons sought to impose their will on all of creation. In the midst of this cosmic struggle, the angel Inarius and the demoness Lilith, daughter of Mephisto, the lord of hatred, found themselves drawn to each other. Their forbidden love gave birth to a new realm, hidden away from the prying eyes of their brethren, sanctuary. This world, a refuge from the eternal conflict, would be the stage for the next great drama in the cosmic struggle between light and darkness. Lilith, a creature of pure darkness, was both feared and revered by her kin. Her power was great, her cunning unmatched, and her ambition knew no bounds. She was the original sin, the first demoness to defy her own kind and forge a new path in the cosmos. As Sanctuary grew, so did Lilith's influence over it. She and Inarius sought to create a race of beings that would be free from the influence of both heaven and hell, a race that would embody both the best and worst traits of their celestial and infernal parents. To achieve this, they created the Nephilim, powerful beings born from the union of angels and demons. These beings possessed the potential to become even greater than their celestial and infernal forebears, a fact that both intrigued and terrified Inarius and Lilith. As the Nephilim came into their own, Inarius began to fear their power, believing that they would bring about the end of Sanctuary. He sought to suppress their true potential, but Lilith would not be deterred. She saw the Nephilim as her greatest creation, the key to finally ending the eternal conflict and establishing her dominion over all of creation. In the end, their differences proved insurmountable, and Lilith was banished by Inarius, her power sealed away by the World Stone, a powerful artifact that dictated the very nature of reality within Sanctuary. Over the eons, Sanctuary remained hidden from both heaven and hell, and the Nephilim's power waned, giving rise to humanity. But whispers of Lilith's power and ambition persisted, her name becoming synonymous with darkness and seduction, a symbol of the eternal struggle between good and evil. As humanity flourished, so too did the forces of darkness. Demons and other twisted beings were drawn to Sanctuary, sensing the latent power of its inhabitants and the potential to corrupt them for their own ends. But where there was darkness, there was also light. Angels descended upon Sanctuary, seeking to protect humanity from the forces of evil and guide them towards a path of righteousness. The stage was set for a new conflict, one that would determine the fate of not only Sanctuary but the entire cosmos. Throughout the ages, the power of the Nephilim lay dormant within humanity, waiting for the right moment to awaken. That moment came when the World Stone was destroyed, shattering the barrier between Sanctuary and the rest of creation. With the World Stone's destruction, the Nephilim's power began to reawaken, and their true potential was once again revealed. These new Nephilim, descendants of the original race, found themselves caught in the middle of the cosmic struggle between heaven and hell, their power both a blessing and a curse. As the forces of light and darkness waged their eternal war across Sanctuary, the Nephilim rose to meet the challenge, vanquishing the forces of evil and protecting their world from annihilation. As the Nephilim fought against the forces of darkness, they learned of the true nature of their heritage and the role they were destined to play in the eternal conflict. They discovered the truth about Lilith, her ambitions, and her part in their creation. Some Nephilim were drawn to the darkness, seduced by the power and promises of the demoness, while others stood resolute in their defiance of her and her nefarious plans. The Nephilim's power, now unleashed, caught the attention of both heaven and hell. Both sides sought to either control or eradicate these powerful beings, fearing their potential to either save or destroy the cosmos. The angels and demons ramped up their efforts, their battles becoming more brutal and devastating than ever before. As the conflict between the forces of light and darkness intensified, the whispers of Lilith's return grew louder. Deep within the burning hells, a ritual was performed that would set the stage for her triumphant return to Sanctuary. The demoness had been biding her time, gathering her strength, and plotting her revenge against those who had banished her. With the Worldstone destroyed and the Nephilim's power awakened, Lilith saw her opportunity to seize control. She emerged from the shadows, her presence sending shockwaves throughout both heaven and hell. The original sin had returned, and she would not be denied her rightful place atop the celestial hierarchy. With Lilith's return, the world of Sanctuary plunged into chaos. Her very presence seemed to amplify the darkness within the hearts of men, corrupting even the most virtuous and strong-willed. Demons flocked to her side, eager to serve the powerful demoness and share in her dominion over all of creation. As the forces of darkness grew stronger, the angels fought desperately to maintain a semblance of order and protect humanity from the encroaching evil. But even they were not immune to the corrupting influence of Lilith, and many found themselves questioning their purpose and their allegiance to the high heavens. The Nephilim, now more powerful than ever, were forced to choose sides in this epic struggle. Some sought to oppose Lilith and her dark legions, while others were seduced by her promises of power and dominion over the cosmos. The battle lines were drawn, and the fate of all creation hung in the balance. In the face of overwhelming darkness, a group of brave Nephilim, both those who had resisted Lilith's temptations and those who had seen the error of their ways, banded together to confront the demoness and put an end to her wicked ambitions. They were a diverse group, each with their own unique abilities and strengths, yet united by a common purpose: to save Sanctuary from the clutches of evil. This group of heroes embarked on a perilous journey, seeking out ancient artifacts and lost knowledge that would aid them in their battle against Lilith. They fought through hordes of demons and overcame insurmountable odds, their determination and courage never wavering. As the heroes prepared for their final confrontation with Lilith, the forces of heaven and hell watched with bated breath, knowing that the outcome of this battle would determine the fate of the entire cosmos. The Nephilim, united by their unwavering resolve, gathered in the heart of Sanctuary, steeling themselves for the battle that lay before them. Each had overcome countless trials, and each had forged a bond with their fellow heroes that transcended the eternal conflict between light and darkness. The air was thick with tension as the heroes marched towards the demoness's lair, a twisted and wicked fortress that seemed to pulsate with dark energy. It was said that the very stones of the fortress were imbued with Lilith's hatred, and as the Nephilim approached, they could feel the weight of this malice bearing down upon them. Yet they pressed on, their determination unwavering. The battle that ensued was unlike any that had come before. As the heroes clashed with Lilith and her demonic minions, the very fabric of reality seemed to tremble in response. Lightning cracked the sky, and the ground shook with the fury of their struggle, as if Sanctuary itself was protesting the cataclysmic forces unleashed by both sides. The heroes fought with everything they had, their powers pushed to the limit as they unleashed devastating attacks and countered the relentless onslaught of Lilith's demonic horde. The air was filled with the deafening clash of steel, the crackle of arcane energy, and the screams of the fallen. Despite their unwavering courage, the heroes began to tire, their bodies bearing the scars of countless battles. It was then that Lilith chose to reveal her true power. With a triumphant roar, the demoness unleashed a torrent of dark energy that seemed to consume the very light around her, casting a shadow of despair over the battlefield. The heroes watched in horror as Lilith's true form was revealed, a monstrous visage of darkness and hatred that struck fear into the hearts of even the most courageous Nephilim. Her eyes burned with an unholy fire, and her voice, once alluring and seductive, now resounded with the fury of 1,000 storms. The Nephilim, faced with this overwhelming display of power, knew that they needed to dig deep within themselves to find the strength to continue. They called upon their inner reserves, the culmination of their experiences, their triumphs, and their failures. They drew upon the bonds they had forged with one another, knowing that together they could stand against the darkness. With renewed determination, the heroes rallied, charging headlong into the fray. They fought with a fury and desperation that matched Lilith's own, their powers colliding in a maelstrom of destruction that threatened to tear Sanctuary apart. The battle raged for days, with neither side giving an inch, the very cosmos seeming to hold its breath as it awaited the outcome of this titanic struggle. Despite the heroes' valiant efforts, they were ultimately unable to stand against the full might of Lilith. One by one, they fell before her, their powers no match for the original sin. As the last of the heroes was struck down, Lilith reveled in her victory, her laughter echoing throughout the cosmos. With the Nephilim defeated, there was no force left in all of creation that could challenge Lilith's dominion. The forces of heaven and hell, both weakened from their own internal struggles and the battles with the Nephilim, were powerless to stop her. Lilith ascended to the pinnacle of power, her rule as absolute as it was terrifying. The era of Lilith's reign was marked by darkness and suffering, as the demoness sought to remake the cosmos in her own twisted image. The forces of heaven and hell, their wills broken by their defeat, were forced to bend the knee to their new overlord. Their eternal conflict finally brought to an end by the iron grip of the original sin. Yet, even in the darkest of times, hope persisted. The surviving Nephilim, those who had evaded Lilith's wrath, went into hiding, biding their time and waiting for the moment when they could rise up and strike back against their oppressor. They continued to fight in the shadows, protecting the remnants of humanity and preserving the last flickers of hope in a world plunged into darkness.